you need to move back to your top piece. Now this should be completely dry to the touch, or more or less, once we've tried out those two different techniques. You're going to need your flat brush. Once again, dab it off, make sure it's dry, and a darker colour of acrylic paint. Dab that acrylic paint on top of the lighter colour underneath. Again, it's creating a smooth layer, please. Good. This technique is called Sgraffito. You're going to need your knife. It's basically just scratching through the paint, the top layer, to see the layer underneath. It comes from an Italian word, graffiere, which basically means graffiti. Before they used to have spray cans, people used to scratch their names into things. So Sgraffito, basically to scratch. You need to scratch your design into the paint using the end of your knife. You should be able to see the colour beneath. You can use this in your final piece to create different types of textures. You can use it to show different types of shape. It's whatever you make it, really. Just Sgraffito. Essentially just to scratch through one layer of paint to see the background. In our next box, we're going to try a method called salting. It's traditionally used in craft towns. Down in Cornwall it's very popular, and it makes a crackled effect on the base of the paint where the salt dissolves into the water. For this you're going to need your watercolour palette, you're going to need tissue, and you're going to need some table salt. With your large brush, choose the colours in your watercolour palette you're going to use. And really simply, they just need to be dabbed on. They need to be kept quite watery. For the next stage, you're going to need to take a piece of tissue. Any bubbles that have appeared on the surface, like this one here, you're going to need to pop with a piece of tissue. Once all the bubbles popped, you need to grab your salt and just very lightly sprinkle onto the surface of the watercolour. As I said, the watercolour does need to be quite wet, so you need to do this straight away. When that dries, we'll come back to that and see how the salt has set and crackled. But that's salting. All there is to it. It creates a nice cracked effect on the surface of the paint.